I'm going to be going over this week's sneaker releases and what released this week, what's releasing next week, and stuff that's been announced. So here we go. So the past releases are, the first one that's up is the Adidas Harden Volume 8. This is the After Hours one. So as far as I know, this came out in the US. I'm not sure if it came out here in Europe, but it's a nice shoe in my opinion, especially for basketball. And I also like wearing it for lifestyle. And I have the Pioneer colorway, but this one is also very nice. So a cop for me if I didn't have the Pioneer pair. And then there was a couple of different dime collabs that came out, and this one is the Slide. And this one's something that I could potentially look at getting, but I didn't bother buying it just on the release date because I've got a few other sneakers in mind that I want. So I might wait and see, pick this up later on just to see what they're like. And then the next one up is the Air Max 1 in Wolf Grey. This apparently released in the US. I didn't see it releasing here in Europe unless it's sort of sold out. But it's a nice colourway. It's quite sort of neutral. It's got nice sort of, looks like suede material on the mudguard and swoosh, which I like. And I'm not too sure about the grey on the upper, medium and lateral side of the sneaker. It feels like the grey doesn't quite match up to sort of the OG colourway greys. Being nitpicky here, but it still looks nicer. It's a nice sort of neutral colour. And then another one that's up. This is where I wish Nike would let us know in advance that there's new colourways coming out, because this is a potential black pair that I would have bought instead of the black pair that I actually ended up getting, which is probably more true to the OG, being in a belt material for the swoosh and mudguard. However, this one feels like a kind of similar to the Tour Yellow, which had really nice materials on it, and this one has a leather mudguard and a leather swoosh. It's small details, but this one does it really nice as well. So this one, I think again it came out in the US. I didn't see it coming out here in the UK, but it's something that I would pick up probably on a sale if I can get them. And then another one that released, which I think is quite nice actually. I wouldn't be buying it myself, but if I didn't have a couple of pairs of Vomeros, I would definitely be interested in this because it's the metallic blue colorway, and there's also a supersonic grey, I think metallic colorway coming out as well. Well, I think it's grey, but that one is something that's on the cards for me. And then we have the Air Max DN SE. So I'm not sure what the SE is for these, but I'm guessing it's to do with the colour being special edition. That's what I think the meaning is anyway. So it looks like the colour to me is different on this one. And then there's another couple of SEs that are coming out, and the one after that is the Air Max DN SE Light Smoke Grey and Persian Violet. And this one has, as you can sort of see, the Nike swoosh on it. And that is a cool detail in my eyes. I think there was always, for me, something missing on the upper with these particular trainers. And I think this makes it look a lot nicer. However, I do like the previous pair, the SE pair that I looked at as well, which is also really nice. And then we have the Nike Blueprint Pack. So this is another one that I think Nike do sort of every year, I think, as far as I remember. But this is in the same sort of colourway, so it's like the blue, orange and white. And it's usually sort of more on their popular or models, innovative models, so such as the Alpha Fly, and then also you have like the Invincible Run and I think the GT Hustle. But just on the top sort of trainers that they have in each category get that treatment. They all look really nice. I think the pick of the bunch for me is this Alpha Fly. I think it looked really cool. And then in the US you had the release of the Air Max Plus TN Sunset. This is a pair that I'm looking to grab. I think it's coming out slightly later here in the UK and Europe. So I think it's more end of the month for us, and definitely really want to sort of pick up a pair if I can. I just love the Air Max Plus, and the OG colorways just do it for me. So this one is another one that I definitely need to have. And the one that's sitting on the New Balance site at the moment, I saw in the US, is the New Balance 96D Boston College. With this model, I do like it. I just feel it's a bit sort of bulky on feet. There's certain trainers that I don't like to wear because they feel too bulky. And if I'm honest, I think the comfort level on these compared to some of the other models, I don't think it's as nice. They bottom out quite quickly, in my opinion. and I feel like the 990 V4 and V6 are sort of nicer silhouettes to wear. Granted, they're obviously high in price range, and that's probably why. But with this particular one, I don't know. It's a weird one for me because it feels nicer on the forefoot than it does on the heel, and the heel kind of, like I said, sort of bottoms out quite quickly. It kind of reminds me of the Yeezy Boost in a way. So it kind of, the Adidas Boost, it starts to bottom out very, very quickly once you start wearing them, and I think this is no different to that. And then we also have the Asics Paris pack. So this was a bunch of different releases for the Olympics. So this GT 2160, but I think they also had a few other models that had this sort of similar sort of color scheme. It's not bad, and I think my issue with the Asics models in general, they all kind of look very similar to each other, because you can only do so much with the Asics logo on the side of the sneaker. So all the trainers seem to kind of, whenever I look at them, I'm not sure which model I'm looking at. So, the only way I can tell is sort of from the midsole, but they all kind of look very similar to each other. And then we have the Air Jordan 1 Retro High OG First in Flight. This looks like a really nice trainer. If you don't have the UNC version, I don't have any trainers in this particular colorway apart from the UNC Black Toe, and I think I'm good with the UNC Black Toe, in all honesty. But this is a really nice trainer. As well, in my opinion. But if I didn't have the UNCs, I'd probably grab these because the leather quality on this particular pair looks really nice, and I may even go back round if I can pick them up on sale for cheap. And then we have the Asics Up There Gel Terrain that also released, and it should be releasing, I think, today, but it's one of those ones where it's a bit mid really to me. It's not doing anything in particular. Again, like I sort of mentioned earlier, the Asics models are sort of interchangeable to me. They all kind of look very similar. And here are some upcoming releases which are coming out next week. The first one that's up is the New Balance 1000 in the black multicolour. I think in particular for me, this is probably the weakest colourway, and for some people they probably love this. However, for me, I'm not feeling it. It kind of feels similar to I think it was a DTLR 9060 that came out maybe last year or the year before, and I'm just not a fan. I don't know, there's something about the multicolours on this just not doing it for me, but there's plenty of different models to sort of choose from with this particular New Balance 1000, and I'm a big fan of the actual model itself, just not this particular colourway. And then this metallic silver, if you don't have the the ALD version, then this is a good sort of consolation prize for getting, I suppose, a neutral New Balance 1000. And this one does look really nice, and probably looks more true to what was originally released back in '99, because you've got the sort of mesh upper. But it looks, really nice, really sort of neutral, and probably easy to wear. So I can't be sort of mad at these. And then you have the Action Bronson New Balance 1906R. So I'm still expecting my Medusa pair to come in, hopefully within the next 3 or 4 days, so I can sort of give a review on. But it's a nice pair, but I don't think it looks as nice as the Rosewater, which is also coming out at the same sort of time. So next week, and the Rosewater pair, I imagine both of them will probably be limited and probably a bit of a hard cop on the New Balance site. But out of the 3 pairs, I think it was the Scorpius one, which isn't releasing, was an exclusive to Action Bronson, and the Medusa pair and the Rosewater pair. I'm definitely up for the Rosewater pair because I don't have any other sort of sneakers that look like this particular one, and I have a couple of pairs that look similar to the Medusa trainer, so I'm not so keen on that one. And then next up we have the Union LA Nike Field General. So they really released on a new Union website, and this is still to be released by other retailers and Nike on the 10th of July. And I think one of the colorways isn't coming out, and that was a Union exclusive, but I can't remember which one. But it's not bad. It's not something that I would be looking to grab. Again, it's one of those trainers that is not doing it for me. I like what Union have done with this particular trainer. However, I'm not a fan of the model itself, and I feel like these types of trainers, especially like football or cleats or soccer type shoes, just don't translate well to everyday lifestyle wear because of the outsole really. However, I think Union have mentioned that they've redesigned the outsole on this particular pair, so it might be better than the other pairs that are out there, like the Samba and the Total 90 Nike models and the Field General itself. So hopefully, it's a better model. So, again, I may come back around and take a look at them, because I do like this particular colorway that they're showing. I think it's a guava one. Then we have the Air Max Sunder, which is coming out on the 11th. And this is the one that I'm particularly a fan of, which is this sort of gold canyon colorway. I know there's a sort of pink pair and a yellow Volt pair coming out, but for me, I think this gold pair probably is the one that's going to be, I suppose, more okay to wear in terms of sort of being able to sort of match it up and wear it with different outfits, I guess. And it's the one that appeals mostly to me. And then next up is the Air Pegasus 2K5. So in silver and hyperviolet and blue. This colorway is one of the ones that's actually appealing to me, because of some of the other colorways I've seen, I've just not been a big fan of the Pegasus silhouette, because the colorways just weren't doing it for me. But this particular one, made it a bit more sort of monotone, and I do like the sort of chrome hits on there. It just sets it off quite nicely. And this one, the swoosh doesn't look as small as well, so I think this is something that I potentially could sort of grab as well. And the recently announced sneakers, so this is something that I suppose have been announced, but there's no sort of, some of them no sort of dates. It's just sort of roughly sort of 2024, 2025. But these were sort of announced, I guess, this week and some of the week before. And the first one up is the Joe Fresh Goods New Balance 990 V6, and it's coming in like this blue and red colorway. At the moment, not a big fan of those sort of monotone sort of color blockings. I do like the Joe Fresh Good collabs, and I think it's one of those ones, maybe if you see it in person, you probably get a bit more of a feel for it. But the red pair is a bit too loud for me, and the blue one does look nice, but again, I tend not to wear these types of trainers where they're kind of sort of more sort of monotone and quite loud, and for me, I suppose they're quite sort of difficult to match up with outfits. But I'm sure it'll be hyped up when it comes out. Then we have the Salehi Banbury Croc Classic Clogs, and then this is a nice pair in the sense of it's quite sort of a mishmash of two models. So you have like the standard Crocs Mule, and then the, I suppose, outsole of the Salehi Banbury Pollux Crocs. So it looks quite cool, and I definitely would like to check these out, because I think anything that Salehi Banbury does is pretty cool, especially with the Croc stuff. And they're not as comfortable for me as, say, a Yeezy product, but they're still comfortable. I think if the Yeezy foam runners and slides went around, then obviously I'll be grabbing more Crocs stuff for that kind of use. And then we have the Travis Scott Sharkidons. So this model I wasn't a big fan of when I saw like the brown pair. It just didn't, I don't know, it just wasn't doing it for me. However, with this particular one, I think in the sail and white colorway just kind of makes it a bit more neutral on foot. I'm still not a fan of the outsole. I think it looks a bit too sort of big and bulky. But I think Travis Scott, probably similar to myself, probably is a big fan of the trainer one. Seems to be sort of a feature, with that sort of strap going around it on most of his trainers. So to me, I think this one in particular looks a lot nicer. But again, I don't know when it's coming up. And then we have the Jordan 4 RM, which I think everyone's been sort of saying is remastered. And this is in the anthracite colorway, and it's another one by Nigel Sylvester. And this one will have bike hair on the back. I actually think it looks nice, actually, and this model's growing on me. But would I buy this collab? I'm not sure, because I think some of the other colorways I've seen, like the coconut milk one, is probably more something that I would be after. I think this one is a bit, again, sort of too monotone, one colour for me. And then we have the New Balance 860 V2. I'm not really a fan of this particular model. This is a collab with Size, who are a UK Europe retailer, and it's coming in this sort of bacon colorway. So there's an iconic MX90 which has this same sort of colorway, and they've kind of borrowed from that. I like it, but I'm not a fan of the 860 V2. I just feel it's more of a sort of cheaper version of the 1906R or the 2002R, and the upper isn't as nice as those, in my opinion. And then we have something which I'm surprised to sort of see is called the Jordan 4 RM Pine Green, but I think this is a mock-up, so it's not actually representative of what's coming out as far as I can sort of see. However, if it does come out in this colourway, I'm not mad at it. I think for me, because I have the Jordan 4 Pine Greens, I probably wouldn't be on the market for these because they're too similar if they look like this. And if I was to choose what pair I'd be wearing in that sort of kind of colourway, then obviously I'm picking the Jordan 4 SBs. But it's still cool, and if you want that sort of Jordan 4 SB vibe, then this is a potential cop. And then we have the Jordan 5 OG Grape. I think the older I get, the more I'm kind of not really feeling Jordan 5s as much, especially the highs. But the lows I don't mind too much. They actually feel really comfortable on foot. So the trainer itself is really comfortable, but I just don't get on with the bulkiness of the trainer itself, especially in this sort of high cut. It just feels a bit, I suppose, better for a younger person. And I feel it's a bit kind of old school as well in that sense. I think for me, I'm not really into sort of grabbing these Jordan 5s in general. So for me, it's a nice colourway, it's iconic, and I appreciate it for what it is, but I probably won't be grabbing it. But still excited to sort of see when it comes out. And then I'm sure this was just done for the shares and the hype. So there's the announcements of the the Off-White collection coming out again, the original 10. However, I don't see that happening in my opinion. I think that's probably just a little bit of a ploy just to kind of get the share prices to be pushed up again. And I feel if they are doing something with Off-White, I don't think they'll be looking back unless they want to kind of kickstart the Off-White collab again. And then I could see some of these models coming out. However, I feel they will either remix these or they will release some of the ones that were currently in development back when Virgil Abloh was creating his stuff, such as the Jordan 4 Bread. However, you never know with these things because of there's a 40th anniversary next year for Jordan, the Jordan brand. Then I can sort of see maybe they would release it, but I feel like this is something that isn't going to be released, and I feel like they're going to do something I suppose new and in line with what's going on with I suppose newer models and maybe having a twist on those. So it might be I feel they'll probably do something like a new 10 Off-White collection rather than re-releasing these. That's kind of my opinion, but these are iconic at the end of the day. And then in a similar vein, obviously again being Michael Jordan's 40th anniversary for Jordan brand, I don't know if it's one of those things again that's kind of been announced, and maybe because it's an iconic pair that is releasing next year, and to sort of hype up Jordan brand again. But I'm not mad at seeing these because I'd love to have a pair, but at the same time I feel like the olive colorway in general is kind of sort of played out really. I think there's been quite a lot of olive colorway sneakers releasing, and I'm not sure if this would have the same impact. And obviously this is all sort of rumours and not completely confirmed, I guess. And I potentially could see these being slightly changed to not be the same as what came before. And even though they're sort of saying they're going to be re-releasing how they are, I just can't see that. I feel like they'll be doing something with these, whether it's a lace swap or just a slight change here and there. I could potentially see that. And so I don't think it will be a one-to-one re-release in my opinion. But still, either way, whichever way it goes, I still like to see them release, and definitely would grab them anyway.